I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Timothy and the Apostle John were both, quote, overseers of the church at Ephesus. Who came to be the overseer first? Why did the overseers change hands at Ephesus, i.e. death, more than they can handle? God called the other somewhere else, etc. Well, we kind of need to break this question apart in multiple layers, so to speak, and I want to work it backwards. Whom we know as the Apostle John had a disciple by the name of Polycarp, and then you look at these early church fathers who communicate a whole lot of, shall we say, the polity or the structure and even the belief system of the early church. And one of the things that is communicated to us is that Ephesus is the place where whom we know as the Apostle John pastored a local congregation, what you and I know as, quote, the Church of Ephesus. We know this for multiple reasons. Obviously, that's written by those early believers, but also we know that Ephesus is actually the origin of Mariology, or the extreme worship or veneration of Mary, of whom on the cross Jesus Christ told John that he was to be responsible for. Now, let's go back to Timothy for just a moment. We know that the Apostle Paul spoke very clearly that he appointed elders or, quote, overseers or presbyters all over the place, of which Timothy was, quote, one of those. And we know that he had an impact within what we know as the Church of Ephesus. Here's the thing that I find fascinating, is that neither of these characters, John or Timothy, are ever referred to as a pastor or a bishop, listen, within the scriptures. And so what we discover here is that they did have roles of leadership. They did have roles of somewhat of an ecclesiastical authority. The scripture does not make it clear what the roles were or when they were, but I would be willing to venture that because of all the communication that we have within the scripture and without of the scripture, that they work side by side and along with each other and were compatible with each other. So again, at the end of the day, if you're going to do a strict chronology, the Apostle John lived a very long life, as did the character known as Timothy. So they would not have, quote unquote, succeeded each other. Now, when the Apostle John was sentenced to the island of Patmos by Domitian, there is no record that Timothy is who he succeeded or who followed, etc. So again, at the end of the day, we know they were both impactful. We know they served in the same capacity. We know they served in the same community. However, there is no, quote, succession of their leadership that's specifically mentioned either within or without of Scripture. Great question, though. If you have one, send it to askjeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.